Welcome, everyone, to another edition of whatever the fuck we're calling this podcast. It is your NWA recap, and big news on this week's show. Far bigger than any title change. I am your host. Of course, accent now. I am your host, as always, Chad Porto. You can find me on Twitter at Chad Nerdcorp, there it is. And on Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut, ChadSPHOTOHUT. You can also find me on fansite at MMA.com. And of course, this podcast is brought to you by RealNerdcorp.com. RealNerdcorp.com. Be sure to follow them on Twitter. Us on Twitter. It's us. We do it. At NERDCORP. And joining me as always is the retro wrestler of the 1980s himself. He is the one that we all call not the one Billy Gunn. He is Marcus P. Freely Green.
Yes, sir. AKA Le Marquion.
Le Marquion, our own personal champion. We don't speak French on the show, but we can pretend. Well, I don't speak French on the show. I don't know which foreign language you studied in high school. I studied Spanish, and it did not go well.
It was French for me, and it was the worst relationship I've ever had.
Well, I have a few that could probably top that. I still have scars. Damn you, calculus. So, we're going to talk NWA Powerr. We're also going to talk about any updated news stories that are like on the web. We have a Randy Orton conversation to get into, I guess. He's re-signed with the WWE, and I need to really ask a question. I'll ask it now, but we'll answer it later. Did you fuckers actually believe he was going to AEW? Are you dumb? Or do you just look stupid?
But Chad, that's where all the money is. That's where you go to be a true star.
Yes, but they also have an HR department that's going to do their job. The WWE does not. Want to stick your dick on someone's shoulder? Flash a new hire? WWE is the place to be.
What did I say? He's a made man. He's been there since, he was 18, 19?
I think 20 years old. He was there. I think he signed in 2000. He debuted on the main roster in 2002. He's 39 right now, so 20 years old.
Him being a WWE superstar is like, 70% of his identity.
I think it's, that and being a felon who went AWOL from the Marines. So, yeah, that sounds about right. He's known for two things, being an asshole and being a pro wrestler who is an asshole. So, let's get into NWA Powerr. We're recording this Tuesday night, but we're not uploading it until Wednesday morning. So, our Woman Crush of the Week should already have been picked and selected, and it is insert name here. But it's not going to be Colt Cabana because I don't think he qualifies. So Colt does the typical I'm a star promo. I'm the main eventer promo. I love his little jacket with the Colt on it. I think that's cool as hell. Talks about how he's going to be a main eventer, but the funny thing is the match that he was main eventing about wasn't even the main event. So, Colt, are you a main eventer? Because I don't think you are.
It was the main event on paper. It was the paper main event.
It's like how AEW does their shows. There's the main event and then the main event.
The match wasn't technically sanctioned, but it was sanctioned.
Right? Like, you call it a lights out match because you can't sanction it, but you're going to air it. That seems like a lawsuit waiting to happen. You're still liable. You're still on the hook on that one. Liable is not the correct term, but you're still on the hook for that one. So Colt opens up with Marquez. What do you think of the opener?
Yeah, I dug it. With Colt, I like the promo and everything, and then, just him coming out. I mean, stating his purpose, stating his not only hyping the match for later because that was the pencil main event, but also, kind of letting it be known and capitalizing off that momentum off the match last week, So, yeah, I dug it. Not the biggest Colt Cabana fan, but he works in this environment really well.
Yeah, like Aaron Stevens. Colt Cabana does very well with a live audience. He does very well with that direct interaction and the ability to play off somebody. He's very conversationally engaging, so it worked
Yeah.
pretty well. Now, I was dual watching this and Impact at the same time, so if I missed anything, I apologize. But next up, we go straight into another interview after I think like a promo package. It's Marquez interviewing Aaron Stevens, and Aaron Stevens claims that he has petitioned the NWA to have a match with Ricky Starks in a 2 out of 3 falls match tonight on the show. Yes. And they have apparently agreed to it. Marcus, Aaron Stevens has become, in my opinion, one of the 5 best reasons to watch the show. But the fans are maybe, I think, getting a little bit too big for their britches when they engage him. I feel like they are far more boisterous with Aaron Stevens than they are at any other time during the show. And I don't mean this to be a dick when I say this, but there's only like 80 fans in the studio. And they're quite loud. So sometimes I wonder if having that engagement's a good idea. I don't know, because it does tend to drown out the wrestlers.
Yeah, and I think I think it's more so to their benefit. Um, Specifically when you talk about guys, I mean, look, he's hit or miss for me. He was missed this week. Um, but the reaction from the audience makes it clear that he's a guy that at least elicits a lot of reaction with what he does, and that's the point. So what he's doing is clearly working. And I think one of your complaints was like about, I guess, the noise or the piping down. Was it the announcers or the audience you was
It
talking
was
about
the,
that you needed?
the audience was drowning out the announcers, and the ring was far too loud. Now, in their defense, they've adjusted the audio levels enough for all that, so it's been less problematic in recent weeks.
Gotcha, gotcha. But yeah, it's real interesting to see that type of engagement with the audience. I mean, obviously it works really well. It's just a room full of people that do not like to be told to shut up, silence, and all this. But like I said, that works perfectly with him. And also with Marquez reminding everybody, we're not supposed to look at him. We can't look at him. So I think it's working. If it gets too obnoxious, maybe they'll do something about that. But I think it's better to have that type of reaction than none at all. You know.
I mean, yes. That's like going to a restaurant and saying, well, my steak's a little overdone. Well, it's the last steak in the restaurant, so you can either have it or you can not. I'll have
Don't
it.
want to be out there and then don't want to be out there and then everybody just decides to all at once to put the dim setting on their Twitter account.
So the next up is a big surprise for Marcus, and I'm very happy um, because the NWA actually put in a real commercial. Hot damn, it's real. This is real, and it's super certified. We interviewed the director of he's the director or the owner of the company. I forget which one it was. We interviewed him a few months ago on the Ohio Guys podcast with me and Alex Swisher. And he talked about how there was things in the workings and how he grew up an NWA fan and was a very big fan of the old school wrestling. So I'm not surprised to see this combination. I'm a little surprised that they've only added 2 NWA talents, though, considering how big it is. Now, I don't remember if Colt Cabana was already announced for this. I think he was. So the next big announcement was that Nick Aldis would be a part of this game. The game is called RetroMania. It is a real game. It's going to be for sale in the first quarter of 2020, I believe. And there's still 2 more additions to the roster to be made. So that's a real cool thing. Aldis cut it in a very NWA gimmicky comedy commercial like they've done all their others in the past. But this is legit. Unlike the Invisible Hair, this is legitimate. And they are going to have 3 available arenas. The NWA Studio, which is... it's pretty fucking cool. If you're watching the video, you can see it right here. Marcus, they're also going to have the... am I on the wrong... Nope, I have to do something real fast. I have to click on the things. Let's see. Wrestling promotions. There we go. NWA. So they're going to have three available arenas. The TV arena is going to be one. They're also going to have the Universal Wrestling College.com arena, which is the Austin Idol arena. The one where he's like, come on and be part of my school. Teach me, Austin. That whole promo, like his ring for his school is going to be in there as well. And they're also going to have the ring for the NWA 70th anniversary show from last year, a part of this as well. And also, apparently, the NWA 10 pounds of gold is going to be, I think, what does it say? Battle your way through the RetroMania wrestling roster to win the coveted 10 pounds of gold. Those who play the classic WrestleFest will find this arcade-style mode very similar to the Saturday night's main event battles in that game. Can you take down Nick Aldis, the Road Warriors, and more on your quest to become the champion? But also, these characters will be involved in the story mode as well. And Marcus, I don't know if you know this. I say this now realizing you probably don't because you just realized this game's real. Johnny Impact is in this game, but he's known as Johnny Retro.
That whole thing that had to be one of the best happy accidents that we've seen happen to a wrestler in terms of the creative variety that his name has allowed him.
I mean, you're not wrong. Johnny Mundo, Johnny Impact, Johnny Retro. It's fantastic. It also says here the NWA talent will be featured in story modes, and they list, which is I think an interesting thing. They list Nick Aldis, Austin Idol, and Colt Cabana all as members of the NWA, but they also list Road Warrior Animal as a member of the NWA as well, and Hawk, but Hawk has since passed away. So that I think is a pretty big deal, at least if you're thinking long term. But they're not the only promotion. When we originally interviewed them, they had just announced Tommy Dreamer in the House of Hardcore promotion was going to be featured as well, and Dreamer's characters there, plus the House of Hardcore avatar, or not avatar, like the ring design is there as well. And there is like a stark difference. If you look at the NWA 70, there's a blue kind of carpet mat, and when you look at the House of Hardcore, it's just concrete. So they are really doing a great job with this game setup. It's all arcade-style sprites, which I think is a great way to cut down on costs. Because like those really fancy games that you see that look so live-like are expensive as hell. But when you go with this, I think you create a timeless feel because these graphics don't really age. This is it's gone from a necessity to a style, and they're really well done. And it looks really well done. And I'm gonna buy this game. Like I don't buy a lot of things anymore, but now I got this new job. I'm gonna have a little extra pocket cash. I'm gonna drop whether it's gonna be $20, $30, or whatever on this game. It's gonna be worth your money, I think. And I know this is the NWA Powerr recap show, but I had to gush about RetroMania once again.
Yeah, no, man. I mean, I dig it, and it's kind of bittersweet in a way because obviously we kind of did something like this maybe it's a couple of years ago now with our boy Bob.
Dino, yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of feels like maybe this is what's kind of come in the wake of what didn't come then.
Mm-hmm.
So like I say, it's kind of bittersweet in that way, but it's great as well. I mean, it's perfect. You're talking about with the NWA style retro wrestling and all that, and integrating a lot of guys like freaking Johnny Retro. That's great. But yeah, I mean, I think what's that game that has like the New Japan
Fire Pro
and like Fire Pro? There it is. Yeah, I know that's real popular with a lot of stuff. And let's be honest, this is gonna be no mercy compared to whatever in the freak WWE 2K20, whatever the freak that was. Jesus Christ.
I still can't get over that Bianca Belair hair. Like, we all know I'm not the biggest Bianca Belair fan, but she deserved better than that.
I don't know if somebody's done the metrics, but did that trend longer than Give Divas a Chance?
the Bianca Belair hair gift? I think so.
No, the fixed WWE 2K20.
Oh, it may have. Well, I don't know. Maybe. The Give Divas a Chance quite literally changed the WWE's women's trajectory forever, which is, I think, an interesting idea. Just like think about that. The fans actually caused something to change in the company. The only time they've ever done it but they still did it once. So kudos.
Yeah, yeah, and still manages to screw that up. But anyway, still somehow pissed the bed in a way. Gave them their own pay-per-view and still pissed the bed some kind of way. So, but yeah, this is really cool. Looking forward to seeing more names added to this roster for sure.
And I'm going to run down the names real fast that are already on the roster. But like if you have a PS4, an Xbox One, or a Nintendo Switch, the game's going to be available for all those consoles. But if you're someone who doesn't own a console anymore, you know, maybe you've gotten past games and this game intrigues you, you can buy this game for your computer. So this game's going to be available on every major outlet that plays video games, and I think that's a really cool thing. And the PS4 announcement just came a week or two ago.
Yeah, and I'm freaking. I feel like the freaking Mr. Perfect when it comes to how far I am behind on these consoles now. So getting it from my laptop might be something that I definitely look into, and I think something like this is so perfect now because we talk about the advancement of these games. The damn controls have gotten so like it's like overcomplicated.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff. And I appreciate the intricacies that they try to do because you try to, these companies are trying to get as close to real life as possible, but it's just a lot of, repetitive complication that's just really not necessary at the end of the day. So when you can dial it back, and simplicity, oftentimes is the right way to go. So I dig this, and yeah, this is gonna be fun. I'm hoping we get somebody like release a trailer or something, but it looks good.
I think there is a trailer. I think there's gameplay footage. I know that. The game's going to be like 3 buttons or 2 buttons plus the directional pad, so it's going to be a very simple, very easy to play arcade style video game. So that means you're not going to be able to have 5-star wrestling matches with these star meters and how long does the most bouts will be 2 to 5 minutes depending. So it's going to be a very fast game, and I think that's part of its appeal is that it's not going to be, bogged down by the sport elements of pro wrestling. It's just going to be kind of a brawler, and I think that's a good way to go. A 2-on-2 brawler, 1-on-1 brawler.
Yeah. Me and Chad are still secretly mourning over the TNA Impact.
Oh God, that game was good. That game wasn't perfect, but it had such a good foundation. I can't believe Midway went out of business when they were trying to make that. I hope someone over at, I think it's NetherRealm, picks up the rights to it. Because I want an Impact too, Electric Boogaloo. So here's the roster as it stands right now. There are still 2 more names to be added. The Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal are part of the RetroMania Wrestling video game extravaganza. NWA's Austin Idol, he was, I think, the 3rd person added to this game. And the cool thing about the website is they list the first games they were airing. Like for Animal and Hawk, it was WCW Wrestling 1990. But for Austin Idol, who's I think 68, 69 years old, maybe 70, first game, RetroMania Wrestling 2020. Then you have the Blue World Order, Big Stevie Cool, Blue Meanie, and they do have Hollywood Nova. And all of these are listed as well. Big Stevie Cool was No Mercy. Blue Meanie was No Mercy as well.
Holy hell, Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah.
It's almost a pity it's only 3 buttons now. That's a pity.
Colt Cabana's in this game. So Marcus is probably going to avoid him. The only thing that I have a complaint against is Colt Cabana is not listed with his NWA World Title accomplishment, which I don't understand that mindset. Maybe Corgan doesn't want to acknowledge the previous regime. Yes.
Dreamer's here.
Yep.
Oh, he looks to kind of be in shape. That's a bummer.
Hollywood Nova, first game, ECW Hardcore Revolution 2000, which was terrible. Johnny Retro, first game, Raw vs. SmackDown 2007, which was a great fucking game. I think it's my favorite in the franchise. Like, going from all the way to WrestleMania 2000 to WWE 2K 2020, Raw vs. SmackDown 2007 might be one of my, either my favorite game or one of my 3 favorite games.
Was 07 the one with Undertaker, Cena, and Lash on the cover?
No, that was the ECW one. That was 2008. The 2007 was the one with Rey Mysterio, John Cena, and Batista, I think, on the cover.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, them Raw versus SmackDown was hidden. Yeah.
Yeah. Nick Aldis is now in the game, and he's got a real cool sprite. He's got more hair on his sprite than he does in real life, so that's funny. Yeah. First game, WrestleMania. They list TNA World Championship, so apparently they're not that butthurt about everything. Tommy Dreamer, first game. ECW Hardcore Evolution, Zack Sabre Jr., first game. WrestleMania. I guess he wasn't involved in the Fire Pro New Japan stuff.
Yeah, I mean, look, I guess not, but I mean, he is certainly somebody that deserves to be in the game, so it's cool he's getting it here. Also be cool once we see further development as it gets closer to release. Some of these wrestlers actually hyping it up on their social medias and stuff, because a lot of these guys are just big nerds anyway. And again, this can't. The bar sits so low behind 2K20, like Jesus. So, anybody that you would like to see maybe added to the roster, maybe even from NWA right now?
From NWA, I think we're going to be on the same page, at least Eli Drake.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm right there with you. Drake, I think Storm would be perfect here. It'd be nice to see him here. Let's see who else. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna include women. I wouldn't imagine. I guess they won't, the way this looks to be going. But I think Allison Kay would be nice, or whatnot. I think it would just be cool to have a Thunder Rosa sprite.
That'd be, oh God, we're on the same train of thought on that one.
We're gonna get to her, but I mean, if you throw on people like Zack Sabre Jr. from New Japan, I mean, hell, man, give us evil ass Minoru here.
That'd be great, especially if the rumors are true of his contract expiring soon. There's no reason not to bring him in.
It'll be so cool to get him, or like classic NJPW Shinsuke, because not this Shinsuke, like the classic Michael Jackson Shinsuke with the outfit included. But yeah, I mean, I think I hope the roster expands to that, because they look like they're going and dipping they well from all corners of the wrestling globe with this. So
the most likely are going to be the Rock and Roll Express, but if we're going with what I would want, I would like to see, like, we'll go with Sami Callihan and Brian Cage from Impact. I would like to see Impact be added and their names added on as well. I think that would be a really good idea. It would be more arenas, more possible things for them to do. Plus, it would also feature more wrestlers from different companies. So, and I don't know how many character slots they have for this game. Like, this might be a situation where they could have like 50 or 60 if all things go well, or it might be something that they're just capped out at what they have right now. I don't know. But I would like to see Impact in some form or capacity be involved in this game, just because it would be a great way to get them back into the conversation. But I don't know if that'll affect Corrigan at all, because Corrigan hates Impact because he's a bitter little bitch. But, you know, what are you going to do? What about you? Do you have two names you'd like to see?
Let's see. Let's see, from Impact.
Oh, no, just in general. It could be anyone not affiliated with WWE.
I mean, hell, Pentagon would be great here. Pentagon and Phoenix.
I would definitely be down for Pentagon.
Pentagon and Phoenix. Yeah, Pentagon and Phoenix. And because, I mean, it fits almost perfectly, go ahead and put the cleaner in there, Kenny.
That would actually work. That would actually work. Pentagon and Kenny, I'm all for. If they don't go with Impact and they go with Pentagon and Kenny instead, fair play. So speaking of fair play, the Dawsons are facing off with Mims and Kingsley. Now, I don't know how this is going to go over with you, Marcus, but if there's a man who ever looked like his name was Mims, it was in fact Mims.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you right now. Please tell me that they did not look like the rookie early year versions of Swan and Mac.
They did. Oh my God! It looked like Mac. It was when it's this weird dread phase, and like Kingsley was kind of like, I'm gonna call myself Rich Goose, and Mims like, nah, That ain't very Swan-like. Rich Swan, there it is.
Like these are the creator. These are like the first phase of the creative wrestler version on a video game before you perfect your character.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. This is like the auto template, and it's just like, basic trunks and boots and hair, and you can change as you go.
Exactly.
The conversation was more that we just had about his name and their likeness was more engaging and exciting than the match was, and it was probably longer than the match was too. This was a squash for the Dawsons. They're really doing all they can to get the Dawsons over, and I'm doing all I can to pretend I care. I don't. 0 fucks given. That's my star scale. How many fucks were given? 0.
Oh man, I appreciate their aggressiveness and them trying to literally put them in positions that offer to turn up the aggression. And they're doing that. Uh, I'm calling the move turning people into man cakes.
Man cakes.
Turning people into man cakes. But yeah, again, they're not outside of being like thicker, bigger bashams. They're not really, they don't really, and they're entertaining me in that way from an aesthetic perspective. They don't really do nothing, But again, you got to have, if you're gonna have a high tag team division, you need names. I just think they're one of the names. They're not one of the prominent names. But I do think they're gonna be clearly gonna be consistent in being aggravators to several people now. So, again, like you said, it was just a squash to get them, to hype them up, build a little confidence, because I don't think they would have did what they did, which we're going to get to later, if they would have lost that match.
True. They're a white Tokar and Razor, let's be honest. Not as exciting as one, too. So then, White Tokar and Razor get confronted by Outlaw Incorporated. Outlaw Inc. And God save me, I love Outlaw Inc. They're fantastic. Kingston and Homicide are gems. Kingston basically says, you want to be number one contenders? You got to go through us. So then the Dawsons are like, all right. And then we have the main event set. So, poor them. But I think this was the next segment is, in my opinion, the best segment of the night. Michael Galley, I think that's his name, was interviewing Tim Storm. And he's like, Tim, what are you going to do? You lost the NWA World title opportunities. You can't ever have it again. Do you want to talk to Corgan? Maybe have him overturn that decision about never getting another NWA World title shot. But if you don't do that, you can do the Heritage, or not the Heritage, the National and the Tag Team belts. And Storm's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. And then Nick Aldis just walks him and goes, can I borrow you for a second? And they kind of like went off screen, but because Tim Storm's mic'd up, you could hear everything Nick Aldis was saying to him, and they zoomed in even though they were like far away from where they were. And Aldis basically said, I'm not going to let you retire. And he was doing it more as a confidant and a locker room leader kind of shtick. But he also puts over the fact that everything that is happening right now is because of you and I. Nick Aldis and Tim Storm rebuilt the NWA, and I thought that was a really cool thing to kind of put into the canon of the company, because I agree with that. So I think that's a very cool thing to do. Marcus, thoughts on the NWA's little interview segment with Storm and Aldis?
I dug it. I'm glad they went where they went with it, because it was becoming one of those kind of how we like a small critique of Storm, like it could become boring real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Him, when he's like, no, man, I lost it. It's fair and square, this, that, and third, and I'm gonna end this talking about Mama Storm. Like it was feel like it was getting to that scenario. The woe was me, freaking Eeyore scenario. But thankfully, like you said, Magnus came in, and real quick, kudos to because it's not something you're used to when you watch freaking WWE. Damn, they feel like on repeat because of how much content they put out. But like actual smart interviewers that like bring up relevant stuff. Like, look, man, like we know you. Obviously, he didn't ask him 3 times. You can't go after the main title. What are you gonna do? I don't know. He didn't go after the other 2. Like clearly, that's the next step. But we don't always get that from interviewers. So that was cool to see. And I like the conversation. First of all, I like that they let us hear the conversation they was having, which will make all the sense in the world. They all mic'd up.
Mm-hmm.
But this is, this could easily come off like it's heading towards a I couldn't beat him, so I'm gonna join him scenario. But it's not coming off like that. It's coming off like, look, man, obviously that night I was the better man, but you are still the man here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, him and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, and this place wouldn't be here, without us. So, you leaving, I think, is a huge mistake. You need to kind of reconsider this, refocus. Just because you ain't the champion don't mean you still can't be the pillar here. So, I dig that relationship that's growing between the two of them. And kind of maybe moving Drake out of the picture too, because Drake, we big fans of Drake, but Drake is always pulling strings that always lead back to him some kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what he's selling us, it's like, okay, I'm only going to buy 30% of this right now because I already know what's going to come down the pike. So yeah, I dug it. I thought that was some real cool stuff, and it leaves things up in the air because we still don't know if he's going to 100% go with all this. So
It does feel like all this is building a small contingent to protect himself from Drake. And it'll be interesting to see if Storm falls in line as a Ric Flair-like ally to Aldis's Triple H. So we'll see what happens there. We witnessed the murder on this week's episode of NWA Powerr. Poor Ashley Vox. she didn't have a chance in the world against Thunder Rosa. I like Ashley Vox. She's a hell of a worker, and I think she really helped put on a very good match with Rosa. And I think I was gonna say kudos and credit, but then it came out crudo. Credit and kudos where they're deserved. She's phenomenal. Right now, though, she's serving a purpose, and that purpose is to help put over other talent. Thunder Rosa's fantastic. I love the look. She's from the graveyards of Mexico. What? Oh my God! She comes out with that fucking drum, whatever that is. Like, she's so cool. And I don't say that much about NWA Powerr.
Yeah, and that's such a great little thing. And also, for her to come from Lucha Underground, where a lot of the noises and effects with stuff was added post shooting the stuff down, that's a great. It feels like a little callback in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like me and you have very much been spoiled by the Tessa Blanchards and the Mercedes Martinez and the young lady who's the ROH champion, women's
Kelly
champion right
Klein.
now, which that ain't exactly looking like an accomplishment. But right about now. But God bless her. We're kind of spoiled by the way that they wrestle,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's kind of where my conflict came in when it came to Marty Bell and um,
Vox.
Vox, because they still feel like they're wrestling in that medium soft type of style where
Mm-hmm.
stuff looks and connect with it. Like when it comes to the women, I need to feel the stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel stuff with Tessa Blanchard, Mercedes Martinez, and numerous other women, but specifically, Thunder Rosa was kicking her ass, and I felt it. And she had the veracity and aggression and the look. It just worked. And the poor Vox girl, she never had a chance. um, but yeah, Thunder Rosa is definitely gonna be one to watch, and I think even more so than the Tim Storm and Maggie segment. This was probably my favorite segment.
Yeah,
Because
I'm right there with you. This is like right there with Storm and Matt and Aldis. My favorite match for sure for this week. And you're right. Like when Rosa started to throw those kicks, the only song that could even define this moment was "In the Arms of the Angels," because you knew that Vox was gonna be having a rough night. So kudos to Thunder Rosa. I think she's fantastic. She's following the Twitter account. She's a fan. We're fans of
yeah,
hers.
yes,
So kudos to Rosa. I think it makes sense to go into the fire with Rosa versus Allison Kane. It just does. I think Rosa is the because here's the thing with Rosa. She's the one that you want to build around. I think they're going to. She likes Sienna, although Allison K, Sienna, whatever you want to call her, allegedly has been in an MMA fight. Although I cover it for a living, and I found one website that says she was. Thunder Rosa is going to be an actual combatant for Combates America, which is the Alberto El Patron promotion. As of right now, I don't think she's going to be on the December card, which is going to feature El Patron versus Tito Ortiz, but she might be. And they signed her and Sexy Star, and they're going to be actually fighting. Like they're listed under their real names and everything. So I'm super impressed by Rosa, but I say this with all due respect. I'm not surprised that she has this physicality because she's been training in MMA for a little while now, if not longer than I'm aware. And I think she has. I don't know what her belt rank is at the moment, but I know she's doing quite well. So I'm not surprised to see her being very physical in these matches. So I'm very much a fan. Very much a fan. But we then go to a Marty Bell promo with Allison Kay, and she's all like, "What's up?" And then Allison Kay's like, "Nothing. What's up with you?" And she's like, "Nothing. What's up with you?" And they're like, "Nothing. What's up with you?" And then Thunder Rosa comes out and goes, "Bitches, please," and just kick the shit out of Allison Kay. I think actually it wasn't "bitches, please." It was "bitches, leave," like that line from Kurtwood Smith in RoboCop. She kicked the shit out of Allison Kay, which made me happy. Thank you, Thunder Rosa. So they are building up to a title match eventually. I just don't know if it's going to be at NWA Powerr or if it's going to be at Into the Fire emojis. And if you want me to call it Powerr and Into the Fire, then spell it correctly. Because otherwise I'm going to call it Powerr and Into the Fire emojis until the day I die. Deal.
You want you subtract? Yeah, addition by subtraction. Take off the R's. Oh.
Take out... Take off the Chewbacca sounds and spell fire correctly, and we'll be kosher. Just don't be a dick, man. That's all I'm saying. Just don't be a dick.
By the way, I was sitting up here thinking when the show was kicking off, because now the intro to the show is one of my favorite things. That's not something I'm gonna ever skip. So I was like, it'd be a great little marketing thing for them, like for them to put out like a little NWA Into the Fire lip sync challenge where they got their wrestlers like in their bathroom or something, or wherever they are, lip syncing Into the Fire, and then it kind of just catches literal fire and hopefully like trends on the internet and becomes a thing, goes viral.
I think Marcus is angling for a social media job with the NWA because that's a hell of an idea, actually. That's a hell of an idea. Now you need to make it real off and popping by like having like Eli Drake with like a Roman candle or like a sparkler. Nick Aldis is in front of a fireplace. Marty Bell's in a bikini because that's fire.
Yeah, you're freaking my boy Ricky Starks is in front of a mirror.
No, even better. Ricky Starks is in front of a car with fire streaks on it. Because it makes it go faster.
With somebody's wife walking up. Somebody's wife.
What's Alicia Edwards doing on this program?
Dual champions.
You mean dual champions?
Yeah, le Asion, yeah. Le Ace Austion, yeah.
The Ace Austion's gonna go all the way to the whatever Lash LaRue said. That's what I'm trying to say. Kitschy yeah gaga. I don't do the French.
But it's gonna be interesting seeing Marty Bell now and Allison Kay going back and forth, because she basically came out and by the way she looked really good in her all black leather, and Marty Bell was really rocking those jeans and those red chucks.
Yep.
But
got to have the chucks.
It was out there. What the hell are you doing coming on? You could have came to me. You out here voicing your opinion out to these people. This ain't Maury.
That was great. And then as soon as she says this ain't Maury, Thunder Rosa's like, no, this is Sparta, bitch. And then she just fucking wallops her from behind. So then we have Aaron Stevens taking on Ricky Starks in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Ricky Starks looks like a Hispanic Petey Williams with that jersey on. By the by, I love the North's new Impact TNA t-shirts. Have you seen those?
No.
They took the old TNA logo, like the old, like when it was like the 2006 era logo.
Red and gold.
Red and gold with the TNA, and there's like the top lines and the bottom lines that connect to the TNA. Well, they
Oh
changed
yeah,
that to
I
the
saw.
North.
Oh, I think I saw that. Yeah, that's incredible. I just look. Ethan Page is one of the biggest champions for this company, and I love it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm all for it. I'm glad that they got a pay raise because they deserve it. So, this was a fine match. I've never been a big Aaron Stevens guy. I think he works a lot better as a personality than he does as a worker. He's
Same here.
he's definitely one of those guys that you would want like. And I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound really weird, but you have to understand the context. I'm saying like the old WWF, when you're thinking of like WrestleManias 1 through 8, where everyone had their set roles, their set peak. There was a few that should have been higher, like a Ricky Steamboat, but then there were also guys that had a niche role but were very important to the brand, like a Rick the Model Martel. And I think an Aaron Stevens would fit very well in that era. He has a big bombastic personality. He's very unique, but in terms of a worker, he's not going to set the world on fire. So NWA Powerr is really embracing that old school concept, and I think Stevens works in that old school concept where he's in the middle of the pack as a character, but you're never really going to see him as a champion. And I think that's all right. I don't see that as a problem because I said all the time. There's multiple podcasts where I say this. Not every wrestler has what it takes to be a world champion, a main eventer, and that's okay because you need to fill out the roster otherwise. Marcus, what do you think of the 2 out of 3 falls match?
I'm quickly developing into a really big Ricky Stark fan. That being said, this match really wasn't anything special. I appreciate the fact that he wasn't, stuck on stupid falling for obvious stuff that Aaron Stevens would do. Um, but yeah, I mean, obviously, you can tell Ricky hasn't even shown not even a third of what he can do.
Mm-hmm.
So far we've gotten beautiful drop kicks and his ability to catch people, with some nice pinning scenarios. But you know, Aaron Stevens to me is not the guy to really have him in the ring to take to that next level. I like to see him get in there with maybe Conley. He can show off more with.
Yes.
But like you said, Stevens works more as a character. Like I think that's another reason why I'm kind of not clicking with him because like he's trying to do this acting thing where he's mixing elements of Sandow with it, and I'm kind of like, okay, if you go back to Sandow when I liked you more with the whole Hallelujah and the robe and all that. But obviously, he's very much freestyling right now because it's his actual own creative freedom that he's experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, just like you, man, he works better for me as a character. Um, It'll be interesting seeing just how long they take this between him and Ricky. Hopefully not too long, because it's a lot of other stuff they could be doing with him, and definitely with I think Ricky is somebody they need to be kind of moving up the card, maybe towards that national championship.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it wasn't nothing special. Again, this is kind of just more so almost serving, obviously to get wins with Ricky, but serving to kind of put him in position to basically be writing a bunch of checks that he can't cash, basically. So
Starks won this, right?
Huh?
Starks won.
Yeah,
this?
Stark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to double check. Next up, we got the quote unquote main event. It's James Storm versus Colt Cabana. Colt Cabana. And Colt's gonna be one of those guys that I think he's always gonna cause a little bit of. I can't think of the word off the top of my head, but it's a little bit of a division, and I understand that. I do think he's a heck of a worker, even if he's not the most athletic worker. But this was a solid match. Colt gets the win, which makes sense because Storm was never supposed to win the championship in the first place in real life. He only won it because Cabana ended up getting hurt and had to drop the belt to Storm because they weren't sure if Cabana was going to be healthy enough to show up for the NWA Powerr tapings. So I appreciate that, and I have no problem with how it went down. Not the greatest match. It's fine. It is what it is. Storm has always been a better tag team wrestler than anything, and Cabana's a comedy wrestler. So I don't know. If you watch this match and you're expecting it to be Okada Omega, I have to wonder, what are you on, and how much did it cost? Marcus, what do you think? What do you think of the quote unquote main event?
It was cool. I dug the match. I appreciate it. We got a lot from Storm. I appreciated seeing a fair amount of stuff from his Arsenal. I always appreciate that out of Storm.
Mm-hmm.
I like the move, and of course, it fits his character perfectly. Um, but yeah, well, I mean, obviously, it wasn't nothing special. But Storm is one of my favorites to watch. But again, I think there's other guys Storm can take it to the limit too, because we know Storm can put on some a damn fine match. Um, because that's kind of what he's been building all these years after Impact is. I mean, even in Impact himself as a singles, more as a singles guy. But yeah, I dug the match. The scuttle that happened afterwards more so served things going around this match than the actual match itself.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was fine. And like you said, Colt, he was never supposed to have it, so dropping back to Colt is only gonna cause a little bit more of a fuss when you kind of look at them kind of making that national championship almost the option C for the brand when it comes to going after that world title. So, you know.
So I remember Eli was there because here's Eli right here. You can see him on the screen. But who was out there as well? Because there was another individual with a black T-shirt.
And Ken.
Who? Oh, Ken Anderson. That's right. That's right. Thank you for reminding me. He's Colt Cabana's tag team partner. They're best friends. The best friends. Although that's a different wrestling promotion. Main event time: the Dawsons versus Kingston and Homicide. Although I don't know if this was ever actually an official match. I think it was. There's a referee, and there was a pinfall. So I guess it was. Quick work, maybe 3 minutes. I think it's also the Dawsons' first loss in the NWA, which, again, is a little bit perplexing. I don't know why they went and did that. Post-match, though, the Rock and Roll Express came down. Yeah! They're super old, but they're super popular still.
Yes. Yeah, it was cool seeing. I'm like, it's cool to see these guys, but there's a more, I think, immediate ass movement that you should be handing out elsewhere to two younger guys who I don't think it's wise to run up on. But I guess you got to prioritize. Yeah.
Yeah, they were on. Was it AEW Dark or was it AEW Dynamite they were on last week?
That was Dynamite. I think they presenting. Yeah, I think was it for the tag team tournament thing, or they were just coming out and they got served up that East West.
Yep, Pentagon and Phoenix were like, "You guys look enough like the Young Bucks." And at one point, Gibson probably screamed out, "White people don't all look alike."
Oh no, it was LAX that served them up.
Oh, that's right. It was LAX. That's right. My bad.
Yeah.
The joke still works. So after we saw the Back to the Future versions of Nick and Matt Jackson get their asses kicked. So NWA Powerr, I think, was a pretty solid show. I would give it a C+. When you talk about the main event and it doesn't actually become the main event, you have the Dawsons wrestle twice. That's not great. You have Aaron Stevens in 3 segments on one show. That's a bit much. There's a lot about the show I did love. The Ashley Fox match was fantastic. Thunder Rosa coming out and kicking Allison Kay's ass. The Nick Aldis, Tim Storm stuff was great. There's a lot on the show, and even the national championship match was pretty good. But it's still, it's not. These shows aren't going to be perfect. The day of me going A+, perfect is going to be rare, few, and far between. But, if you're getting a C+ every week, I think you're doing all right. I think you're doing enough to keep me engaged. It's when we start talking about not being a C+ show. When we start talking about being too overwhelmed with the negatives and not so much the positive, that's when I start to think, done. But we're not there yet. We're not even close. So I would say C+. Marcus, what would you give this week's show?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a C+ as well. And then I feel like my grade got downgraded as you brought up the fact about obviously got multiple things with the Dawsons and what else was it?
Aaron Stevens.
Yeah, that's never gonna sit too well with us. With a large variety of him. Not knocking the guy. He does what he does, but But I think what this episode did more than anything, because I really enjoyed this episode. Like I think, this episode more than the other show that they could put a lot on the show and not have it feel like it was jumbled.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of, you got the stuff with the women. The stuff with the women is heating up really interesting. Mm-hmm. That's only going to get better when we get to see added names come in like Melina and stuff like that. Can't wait to see that split.
It'll be fully pantsed, so don't get too excited.
I know, but I've got I've almost gotten used to that. Of course, I will be searching Daily Motion after the show. But okay, Clips. Uh, yeah, that's heating up. I dig all the stuff with you know, um, Tim Storm and that whole picture and just everything. Because like you said, I think it is him kind of building a little shield around himself in that championship, specifically, staving off, Eli and stuff of that nature. And I mean, we got to remember it was Camille that came out there and attacked um, who that was Drake and Ken.
Hmm.
We know she's not gonna make a move without him. She don't even want to talk. So now she's making decisions independent of the um the national treasure. So yeah, I think this was a good showing that they could juggle a lot of balls and not drop them. Even if we didn't like every ball that was in the air. So yeah, the C plus.
I do concur. So let's take a look at some wrestling news. We'll start with one that I think was kind of interesting. Lance Storm has officially agreed to go back to the WWE, and I'm a little broken up about it. Mark is not gonna lie. I thought he was gonna join Impact. He announced 3 months ago that he was gonna shut down his school, and it's kind of one of those things where he's dogged the WWE a lot, and maybe this is maybe he's, and I don't mean this as an insult, but it's going to be a bit of an insult. Maybe he's actually delusional enough to think he can help, because he wants the best wrestling to exist, and I know this. I've seen his comments. I know what they're doing. I also think this is the end of his podcast run with Don Callis, the what was it, Burying the Town podcast. I think that's done. Storm was also doing some work with the Wrestling Observer, and I think that's done. So he's going to go be a faceless name in the WWE. But as much as I'm, like, ugh, so gross, all about that, I do have to acknowledge that at least he's going to be getting paid. He's going to be getting paid. And that's the thing that I think is most important, is just to make sure you make your money.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Storms always came off like a quality guy, quality human being. Never really heard anything about him, really. And if anything I've heard has been compliments from, just not only the type of guy he is, but the type of, the help that he's given so many people. And then of course, hella entertaining when we was watching him coming up in the '90s and whatnot, and even earlier than that. But yeah, I mean, a lot of credence to your point about it. Do think there's a little bit of naivete there, and the fact that um, he thinks he can, be a cog in the wheel that actually makes a difference in the overall machine. I think a lot of people there currently have that thing, or that they've convinced themselves, forced themselves to be convinced that they can. And then you look up and it's been, damn near 5 years and you're still saying the same position you were when you came up with that idea in the first place. But yeah, like you said, at least he's getting paid. Maybe he's looking towards more so. I would hope he's looking more towards so that NXT roster and that performance center, which I would imagine is being packed out of the brim now. I just saw 4 names that they added, one of which looks to be Scarlett Bordeaux.
And the second is Shotzi Blackheart, who maybe not as
Yeah,
familiar with many as Scarlett. She has been on Impact and was actually just doing a loop with them during the Bound for Glory weekend.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. But looking at that, I gotta imagine that freaking that performance center got to be looking like with everybody there, they have to be looking like all the Popeyes in the nation right now with them damn sandwiches. It's like it's it's too much demand, not enough supply. You know.
I saw the video you tweeted out about the Popeyes chicken thing, but then I was watching the Philip DeFranco show. I don't know if you ever watched that on YouTube. He did a story. Apparently, a stabbing occurred at one of them.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody died over skipping a line. Apparently,
Like,
it's ridiculous.
I think like there's like a big, what is it? Church's Chicken is pretty big. Is that the new one that's kind of expanding nationwide? I think it's Church's. We just got one. I think it's Church's. And for like 3 months, you couldn't get in line because it was just so long. So you know what I did, Marcus? You know what I did? Do you know what I did? I waited 3 months to try the food because I'm not going to get involved in that nonsense. Waiting in a line for 3 hours for fast food. What? I mean, kudos to brand recognition and getting the hype out there because money. But also, no. I'm not going to be involved. No, thank you. None for me, please. Marcus, are you going to try to get one of those spicy chicken sandwiches?
Maybe eventually. I feel like at this rate, I'm never gonna get one either because I'm just gonna get completely turned off, or it's gonna get to a point where they're gonna like retire them indefinitely.
Mm.
Because now you got death associated with your brand,
Yeah, that
right?
does kill the hype.
And I was like, I told my mom, like, I see all these people hyped and because they came out on Sunday, which I imagine a lot of people just skipped out on church to be in those lines. That's when they brought it back. But I'm like, all they got to do if they really want to scave off some of that traffic, mention salmonella one damn time. That's it. One time, one even a hint of salmonella, them lines finna get cut real short.
Are you wanting to do a false flag operation, Marcus, where we leak that there's been salmonella in their chickens, so that way we can actually get some of the sandwiches? I'm not saying I won't do it. I'm just wanting to make sure that we clarify
I
what
just
it
want
is.
to do it just to see how many people actually go dissipate in terms of, or get out of their chicken frenzy. Because in my mind, I'm like, you know what? If these chicken sandwich crazed people will support some of their favorite artists the way they going after this damn sandwich, there will never be any conversation about this or that person fell off.
Yep, that's very true. That's very damn true. Although I do love the chicken, not a specific chicken. I just mean in general. I love me some
Yeah.
chicken. Oof, you can do so many things with it. It's such a versatile piece of meat. It can be
Yeah,
breakfast food. It can be lunch food. It could be a entree. It can be an appetizer with an entree.
exactly. And as a huge chicken breast fan, I'm more of a chicken. Like I prefer. I'm going to a chicken spot. I prefer to get tenders. I'm a tenders guy.
Mm.
So this chicken breast is very intriguing to me. I'm curious about it. But I'm sitting there like, look, man, I'm not finna put my life in danger about these these meat hungry bastards because they geeked up about some doggone chicken. I'm not doing it. I'm not getting in line. I'm not waiting damn near 2 hours for no fast food. I'm not doing it. I'm not putting myself in that position. It's ridiculous. People wrecking their cars. People bamming on the window like this. This looks like it's like the purge for poultry.
The poultry purge. Cluck cluck,
Exactly.
bitches. Cluck cluck. All right, real question. Are you a ranch, honey mustard, barbecue, or buffalo guy? And if you say a
Ranch,
fifth, I'm gonna have to. Things aren't gonna go
ranch,
well, Marcus. And if you
ranch, honey.
even say ketchup,
No, no, I gotta no. It's a mix between either honey mustard or ranch. If I'm going with some buffalo, I'm going with the ranch, and if I'm going regular, I might I'll saddle it with the honey mustard.
okay, okay. Buffalo and ranch, in my opinion, always goes together. And
Yeah.
and actually, I had some roasted chicken a couple days ago, so I had some pieces left over. So I took some Franks, made some put some Franks and some butter together, made some buffalo sauce, shook that some bitch up nice, and had roasted buffalo chicken for breakfast actually. Well, lunch ish.
Ah, that's so good. Sometimes I get when I can catch them in that reasonable price, I'll get those Tyson's tenders in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be either it's the honey barbecue or the buffalo. Now, if I get the buffalo, got to have it with ranch.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think about it, I do the the honey barbecue with ranch too. But those are really good, and I like to put them with some fries, usually the seasoned ones.
Oof, that's a
Yeah,
good pick. That's a good pick.
yeah, yeah, good stuff. So we got our go-tos.
And the WWE has their go-tos as well, and one of those go-tos is Randy Orton. Randall Keith Orton. Randall Keith Orton was arrested a few times because he's a douchebag. He signed a new multi-year deal with the WWE, which should surprise absolutely no one. Because if you fuckers actually thought he was going to be going to All Elite, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. I said he was just doing it to raise his stock. I told you he was just doing it to raise his profile. I told you he was doing it just so he can get more money out of the company, and y'all didn't believe me.
Come on, man. You think first of all, he's already making a F ton of money.
Yeah.
The guy, he's one of the few people that would have got a bus
Mm-hmm.
that have been there long enough to have a bus.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a small expenditure. Either like I said, with how long he's been there, he's a made man. There's no reason. He's a walking Hall of Fame, a made man. There's no reason to. You think he's not sitting there, literally just talking to all these guys or seeing the big insane checks that the freaking the Dawson and the freaking I'm about to call them the mechanics, but the revival getting, and God knows what they're giving Kurt Hawkins to still be there. I was thinking he's seeing all these fat ass checks being handed out, these paydays, knowing good and well that he's actually a vital piece in the company. Come on, man. I can only imagine the checks he's getting and all the vacations him and his wife are finna go on. So,
And all the potential lawsuits he can now squash in mediation.
exactly.
By the by, can confirm Zack Ryder paid exclusively in action figures. Exclusively.
That is 100% believable.
That is 100% the truth. Don't at me.
He's like, I'm marrying Chelsea Green. What else do I need?
I'm not going to touch that one because... I mean, attraction is objective. I'll just put it like that.
So I'm guessing you putting all your chips on Emma?
If it's Emma or Chelsea Green, I'm putting them all on Emma, yeah. If it's Chelsea Green or a Stone, I'm putting all my chips on a Stone. Could I get a Toad or Chelsea Green? Going Toad. I'm not going to insult the woman. We're above that. I'm just saying she don't do it for me.
You're like, okay, what's worse than a toad? Ramses.
Ramses, the man in gauze. The man in gauze. Actually, you know, I'll go with Chelsea Green over Ramses because I don't want to be cursed by an Egyptian pharaoh come back to life because I done stole something. I'm good. No, thank you, sir.
We found the line.
There is a line, and we found it. You have a line? We have a line. Da, 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 da. Jurassic Line. So, announced also today, Hard to Kill will take place in Dallas, Texas on January 12th, 2020. It was not announced on this presser that I'm seeing here where the venue is going to be at, although I wouldn't be surprised if it was at the same place that they were for Slammiversary. So, again, another 15 to 2,000 people will be in attendance, which, you know, considering where we were 3 years ago, I'm good with what Impact is doing right now. I'm not a big fan of every little move, and I mentioned this before, like the Joey Ryan stuff, like whatever. But also, I am now very much on brand and like very much all for a P.D. Williams rivalry with Johnny Singer. Watch tonight's Impact to find out what I mean about that. But like, they're a company that I think has done well to revive themselves, and they're definitely on the way. You know, you can just look at the audience sizes and see that, you know, they're clipping back, and as long as they stay out of, you know, Norman, Oklahoma, they're gonna usually pull in a pretty nice gate because it's Oklahoma and it's specifically Norman. I don't even think it was Norman; it was like Powell, Oklahoma, or something like that. Marcus, they have a show on Saturday, I think. What's your thoughts on Impact Wrestling being their next big show, Hard to Kill, being emanated from Dallas? You done with that?
Yeah, I dig it. I think you know that whole state's been pretty good to them. Didn't a Slammiversary or Bound for Glory take place when they're there one year?
Yeah. Slammiversary emanated there last year, and then 2012 they had Slammiversary there in Fort Worth, which is like right next door to Dallas. And that was the show that that was just top to bottom fantastic. And it was also the night James Storm, I think, returned to Impact as well, because it was the Crimson undefeated streak ended that night. I don't know why I
Yeah,
remember that, but there it is.
Crimson, aka Big Red's big brother.
Little Red's big
Uh,
brother.
Little Red's big brother, yeah. But yeah, I dig. I mean, and like you said, we're not fans of all the decisions that they made, but you look at that show, and a lot of things are working. You know, even Callahan as the new world champion, that's been coming for a while. I mean, they've been building to that, since he's debuted. I mean, he kind of gotta remember he kind of debuted as almost the heavy for OVE, took that over, revitalized that, you know, that brand with OVE, and now it's full steam ahead, and they basically holding down two of the major feuds on the show between Tessa and Brian.
Mm-hmm.
So you got that going, and then I finally saw the Ace Austin's new venture. That's quite the fact. And Don Callis was the perfect person to have go there because the woman said something. Aren't you? Oh, kayfabe, kayfabe,
Kayfabe,
kayfabe.
kayfabe, kayfabe.
Oh, Don Callis is freaking hilarious. And yeah, I mean, it was great to not see Ken Shamrock get dick plexed or whatever. Me and Chad put up with that particular side of things. But yeah, everything else it's looking good. I'm digging it. We got Fallah Boss speaking full human. So
He's speaking full human. I love
so
it.
that's a plus. That's really great. We getting stuff from all Fuji and whatnot. So it's a lot of great little stuff going on, man. Even with Taya, she's holding things down. She looks like she's kind of committed to things with Impact, so that's good. And until they maybe pull in some more names or Tessa cares to get back in the heat of things with the knockouts, she's holding down the force. So I'm digging it. What you said the crowd was for this upcoming show?
The upcoming show will probably be about 1,500 to 2,000 people because of just how it's not a very big venue, but that's about what they did
Yeah.
for Slammiversary when they were there. So
I mean, hey man, that's work. I mean, look, don't we've seen them oversell and under deliver when it's come to that. So stick to what you know, stick to what's working, and kind of just because they still building, they just getting back, getting on a significant station with access, and we know everything that happened with that. But now that you have a more readily available audience, all you got to do is kind of build and keep that product consistent. So, it's a real good time to be an Impact fan right now.
it really is, just with everything that's been going on with the company, it's good that this is where we're at. So it lists Gillies, which is where they were in Dallas, at 1,200. So expect about another 1,200 people. It's not a very big venue, so I'm not surprised it's only 1,200. But they pulled in about 3,000 for Bound for Glory, so they clearly have the reach to get better numbers.
Yeah. I'd rather have a small rambunctious crowd than a big, quiet one.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure. All right, Marcus. Anything else you want to touch on before we end tonight's show?
No, that's pretty much it. Has anything come back through the wire with all the dealings with ACH or anything with this Saudi mess that's come up?
Well, the Saudi mess has kind of been placed in a bubble for the moment. There will obviously be more information that comes out as the weeks go by. The WWE told the roster to stop talking about it.
Yeah.
Shocking. Seth Rollins made an ass of himself trying to give the worst motivational speech of all time. Shocking. But they've announced a extension on the deal, which I would imagine came with money up front. So we'll see what happens with that. That's going to be a thing. ACH, on the other hand, I think it was Sunday, said that they have until yesterday, Monday, because again, we're recording this Tuesday night, that they had until Monday morning to get back to him about having a conversation. I don't think they did.
Yeah, it's I don't know what exactly he was potentially threatening them with. It's it's like he like in one of those relationships things where if you don't do such and such, I got the receipts and I'm waiting to drop them. Like so, I don't know if how much more we could be seeing of him. They might just do a thing where they let him sit the rest of his contract out. They could be real cruel right now,
Yeah.
because he's an independent contracted employee. So it's a very unique position that he's put himself in, both I think with this company in particular and the industry in general. With the shot or the bus he threw Jay Lethal on at a time when I think was his arm broke or something.
Yeah,
When his
I think he broke his arm.
Yeah. So yeah, speaking out of being mistreated as a brother, and you threw another brother under the bus, and
Brother.
all brother, freaking yet another way for Hogan to segue in and get some fanfare. But yeah, I'm not surprised they told him to shut up about the Saudi stuff. It was really interesting to see a lot of the roster get that kind of backlash. I think Axel said something. Um, who was it? One
Rusev,
of yeah,
Axel, Heath Slater, and Carl Anderson's wife were all very vocal about it.
yeah. You do not want to piss off somebody's hot Asian wife. He
No,
is
you do
not
not.
going back on any of those tours. And it's funny enough coming off of this ACH thing, we all seeing more guys speak up.
Yep.
Which they need to do because I think somebody who was it that tweeted, and maybe it was Carl Anderson, gonna be looking forward to seeing who's the locker room leader tonight or something. And apparently Rollins pooped the bed, which let's be honest, he's been doing verbally for the past however many months now. So for him to do it in person in front of that whole roster, it's just another chapter in the downfall of his credibility. So,
Roman Reigns is sitting on SmackDown going, yup. And as far as ACH go, I can confirm, I don't know, what this will mean to someone. Because I don't know the ramifications, but as far as, if we'll see him again, John Cena did knock on ACH's door and gave him a briefcase and then did a little hand thing and left. I think he was passing down the gimmick of you not being able to see ACH. Oh! You can't see him.
and no, that was not a dark joke by my podcast partner.
Oh, I didn't even realize. No, it's because John Cena, you can't see me. Now you can't see ACH because he's going to be in the
No.
doghouse.
Like, no, Chad, that was a perfect window for me to be offended, and I'm gonna take it.
Thank you for not being offended because I didn't even put the 2 and 2 together. Like you're like that's not a dark joke. I'm like wait, because he's black. I get it. I made a boo boo. No, but like I could easily see him just being persona non grata now. Got the John Cena you can't see me gimmick. He's invisible. He's not there. And I don't know what the contract status is for someone who's sent home to write out their contract. I would have to imagine, legally speaking, they can't tack on time if they're just not being used, right? Like we know that they can tack on time for injuries and for any type of employment issues, like with Sasha Banks, they could tack on time for that. But with this, let's just say for the sake of argument, he signed a year contract or however long he's been in the company. Let's say he's supposed to leave in December. I don't think they can tack on time for anything that he's missed before then. You know what I mean? Like because right now it's them not using him. But then again, Marcus, we need to be very, very honest here. ACH has been caught flubbing some things. To what extent, I don't know. But maybe they're offering him to work and he's saying no. And if that's the case, then they can tack on time. But this is going to be one of those things that we're not going to know the full story of because ACH's situation is so very volatile. And there's a lot of misinformation on both sides about this conversation that, I don't know what's going to happen. And there's been reports that ACH is going through some real heavy shit at the moment. I don't know what that means. Maybe a relative died. Maybe he's got some issues with substances or psychologically, or maybe his dog just won't stop chewing up his remote control. I don't know. But
Yeah,
it's a very convoluted, circling question thing to worry about.
it was funny because I think you would listen to or read something about some stuff regarding ACH, and it's funny, sometimes you have to, take a step back from something to get a real clear view of it. And maybe that's something he needs to do. Like I said, this kind of came off, and obviously I can't speak for the guy because I don't know him from a can of paint. But the way it came off to me was like it was a culmination of things, and that shirt was the last straw of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I mean, you're not wrong. This on its own doesn't feel like a big enough issue, but this on top of everything else, really, like the straw that broke the camel's back, man.
Yeah, yeah. You know, and I would imagine he is, what feels like it is is really bubbling with a lot of guys. Like imagine how many guys are just being paid uh, probably an insane amount of money just to run behind whoever the freak got that 24/7 title every week. And they just sitting up there like I'm literally kind of just wasting away here, like I'm being paid well, but it's like a scorned woman who pissed off in a breakup because they feel like they wasted their prime years and now they can't even get nothing for it.
Yep.
There's no ring or anything for it. Like I would imagine there's a lot of guys that would want to kind of go off on like he did, and I think a few of them kind of did it in a way on this Saudi thing just because it was so damn ridiculous, of everything that went down. But yeah, man, God bless the dude, man. If he is going through something, I hope he gets it taken care of. Maybe it is a scenario like, what Sasha Banks was going through, and he kind of just needs to take some time and step back, and maybe he can have a return like we got from Leo. That being said, that's not necessarily a guarantee because they don't take all offenses the same way.
Who would have thought that Leo Rush would have been the top cruiserweight wrestler right now? Like, not me.
At all. I would imagine he would have still been on the shelf,
Right?
or their shelf, not the actual shelf, because he wasn't injured. But yeah, I mean, it's weird. I guess maybe it's depending on who you in good graces with. Maybe he is in better standing with somebody like a Triple H, which, may have been easy for him to come back through the lenses of NXT. And ACHs kind of don't really have that relationship with anybody, like that. But because at this point, Cameron Grimes is shining more than he did. So
Trevor Lee. All right. Well, that's all we got for this week's show. So we are wrapping up. Well, we'll have the WCW up by, if you're listening to the show, it's already up, as well as our Wrestler of the Week. Tune in, log into realnerdcorp.com, RealNerdcorp.com to find out who our WCW or Wrestler of the Week is, as well as on the Instagram at Real Nerd Corp on Instagram. You can find us also on Twitter at WrestlingUnderG, WRESTLINGUNDER. You can also find us on the other Twitter account, NERDCORP. That's for the website. This is for the podcast. Wrestling Underground, the podcast one. Obviously, the website's NerdCorp. So, find that out. Links to our YouTube channels are down below. We're also on twitch.tv/Wrestling Underground. We are also on twitch.tv/Game and Comic Corp. That's GameAndComicCorp. Marcus, I don't think I did your personals. You can find Marcus at Twitter on ParadoxKid, ParadoxKid.
that's me.
You can also find him on the True Penny podcast, TruePennyShow, on Twitter, the True Penny Show on Twitter. And find us on Podbean if you want to find any of our past podcasts. You can do so via your computer at Podbean at realnerdcorp.podbean.com or on your mobile device by downloading the Podbean app and searching for Real Nerd Corp on the service. We're also on iTunes at NerdCorp, NERDCORP on iTunes. And we're also on the YouTube channels, which you can find down below in the links. And also, this is the YouTube channel, so you can just hit subscribe. It's right there. Click on it. But yeah, so with all that being said, that's all we got for you guys today. This is the YouTube exclusive version of the Wrestling Underground podcast because it's the NWA Powerr review. So, Marcus, is there anything else you want to say before we say goodnight?
Yeah, any religious wrestling fans out there, before you go to bed tonight, put in a prayer for Rey Mysterio.
In the arms of the angels.
Mijo.
Via con Dios. Brock just turns around. God's going to sit this one out. and God's behind a chair. Yup.
Nothing to do with me.
Ray's looking at Lashley, and Lashley's like, nope. Ray's looking at Velasquez, and Velasquez's like, nope.
And then somebody just runs up. All this over Eddie's kid?
How did Vicky get in the room? Oh, goddamn.
Well, yeah, that's about it. Just put in a prayer for Ray Ray, man.
So thank you for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for giving us a chance. This has been the Wrestling Underground podcast brought to you by RealNerdCorp.com. I've been your host. Marcus has been your co-host. Good night. Goodbye. And remember to always watch more wrestling. Marcus, take us home.
Good night, me.